And we are back with the fourth segment of the GSMC Sports Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. And in this fourth segment, I'm going to do a quick recap of all of the NBA games that took place over the weekend. We're going to start right now because I am running low on some time. The Nets, they matched up against the 76ers. I thought the Nets were going to win because the 76ers most likely were not going to have Joel Embiid. They did not have Joel Embiid. They did not have Paul George either. They did have Tyrese Maxey, and they did have Jared McCain. McCain ended with 30 points, is making a very solid conversation of being put in the Rookie of the Year, right? Because, not many rookies are really playing all that well. He has been playing phenomenally in these last few games. Maxey, he ended with 26 points. He did go 11 for 17, but again, Jared McCain was really the big story in this game. Cam Johnson ended with 37 points and still ended up suffering a loss. Cam Thomas ended with 18 and was 6 for 15. This was Ben Simmons' return to Philly, and he had 2 points. 2! He also ended with 4 rebounds and 4 assists as well. This man, Ben Simmons, he went 1 for 4 on layups. I saw him miss a wide-open layup in one of the quarters of play. He also missed another wide-open layup, and then he missed a rather contested layup, but again, we're used to seeing him make those kinds of layups. He was missing every single layup on the court. I don't know how he still has a job. He's absolutely awful. I cannot stand Ben Simmons, but that's the end of that. So I was already wrong. And then the Warriors, they matched up against the Pelicans. I was right about this one. They ended up winning 112 to 108. Steph Curry did not play well in this one, but they don't really need his production. Of course they don't, because the Warriors somehow are always just a competent team, with Andrew Wiggins dropping 30 points out of nowhere. And that was really the only production that they needed, because the Pelicans, they did not have any of their star players aside from Brandon Ingram, who ended with just 18 points and shot 7 for 16. So again, not really an outcome that I expected, an outcome that we all expected. Now, the Nuggets, they ended up losing to the Dallas Mavericks. That was an outcome I did not expect. Despite Jokic dropping 33, 17, and 10, they still ended up losing with a shorthanded Mavericks because Luka is going to be out for a couple of games, and they still ended up losing. I don't get it. Klay Thompson ended the game with 0 points, 0 for 8, 0 for 4, and they still won. I don't get it. I genuinely don't. But I think now it's safe to say that Klay Thompson is washed. And they had Najee Marshall, who had 26 points. PJ Washington, who had 22 points. But again, 0 for 8. If this was Carmelo Anthony, he would get cut immediately. And let's see. No one really performed all that well on the Nuggets. I mean, Michael Porter Jr. had 17 points, Jamal Murray had 14 and 11, but of course, unless they're going up against the Lakers, more on that later, the team does not play well. And Celtics, they ended up destroying the Wizards on Friday. Jaylen Brown ended with 31 points and 11 rebounds. Jason Tatum had 16, 9, and 8. And really, obviously, against the Wizards, this game was not really going to be close. I had the Celtics winning in this one, and the Bucks, they ended up beating the Pacers. I don't think I picked the Bucks to win in this one. I haven't really been all that confident with this team. But again, like I said, this was a game that I wouldn't mind getting wrong because the Pacers, they have awful defense, and Giannis made sure that they knew that they had awful defense, dropping a 37-point triple-double with 10 rebounds and 11 assists. Damian Lillard ended with 24 points and 13 assists as well. And the bench actually had some solid production from Gary Trent with 18, Bobby Portis with 17, and really, this game was just a train wreck for Indiana. Halliburton, he ended with 18 points and 9 assists because, that's Tyrese Halliburton for you. But again, Giannis dropping 37 on a triple-double is ridiculous. Houston, they ended up beating the Trailblazers. I thought that Houston was going to win, and I ended up being proved right. They won 116 to 88. And let's see. Dylan Brooks, he ended up dropping 28 points out of nowhere. And the Blazers, they really did not have much of an answer for that. The Hawks, they ended up losing to the Bulls. I thought the Hawks were going to win mainly because they cannot really stray too far from a 500 record. But the Bulls, the starting lineup, almost everyone on the starting lineup had around 20 points or more. Trae Young outplayed Tyrese Halliburton again, 25 points with 13 assists. He did shoot 8 for 18 and 1 for 8 from 3, but again, 25 points and a double-double with that is a double-double. The Clippers, they ended up beating the Kings. I don't know which team I picked in this one. I'm pretty sure I picked the Kings, and I ended up getting that wrong, of course, because the Clippers, they're just clipping away at the competition. De'Aaron Fox ended with 29 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Sabonis ended with 24 points and 15 rebounds. Kevin Huerter ended with 0. And so, not a really good day with predictions so far. Definitely not. And then on Saturday, the Knicks disappointed me yet again. The Knicks ended up losing 106 to 121 to one of the worst teams in the NBA, the Utah Jazz. So, very disappointing right there. Already just taking another L in the predictions. And just because we're running out of time, I'm going to speed through a little bit of these. The Spurs, they ended up beating the Warriors, another team that disappointed me because I thought the Warriors were going to end up winning. Victor had 25 points, 9 assists, and 7 rebounds. Harrison Barnes had 22 points in his revenge game against this team. Steph Curry only had 14 points. He's been playing awful, and, I don't know what's going on with Steph right now. The Nuggets, of course, they beat the Lakers because they just play well against the Lakers. They only play well against the Lakers, it seems like. Anthony Davis ended with 14 points and 10 rebounds, so a very lackluster performance coming in from him, especially going 6 for 19 from the field. LeBron ended with 18, with 7 assists and 6 rebounds and 3 steals. The Nuggets ended this game on a 50-17 run, which is ridiculous. Again, I have no idea how they do this against the Lakers. They just go on these ridiculous shooting splits and just own them. I don't understand I don't know what it is. I genuinely do not know what it is, but they shoot historically well against these Lakers. They play historically well against these Lakers. It does not make any sense. Jokic ended with 34 and 13. Michael Porter ended with 24 and 11. Jamal Murray did not turn into Michael Jordan in this game, but he still ended with 14 points and 5 for 12 from the field. But again, the way that this team ended up going on a run, by the way, Russell Westbrook ended with 14 points, 6 for 10 from the field, and 11 assists. I don't know how they go on this run against the Lakers. I don't know how they do that, but they just do it. It's ridiculous. I cannot stand it because it's only against the Lakers. They only play this ridiculously well against LeBron and against LA. I don't know what's in the water for them, but it's they're the Lakers' kryptonite, and it does not make any sense. The Magic, they ended up beating the Pistons, an outcome that I expected. Actually, I don't think I expected that now that I think about that. I'm pretty sure I picked the Pistons to win in this one, but Franz Wagner, he dropped 30 and said, your prediction is wrong. And that was really all she wrote because that was the best player on the court for the Magic. The Blazers, they ended up beating Houston in the next matchup that they ended up playing. Yes, they played back-to-back games against each other in Houston. And Fernie Simmons, he ended with 25 points, and Jeremy Grant ended with 22, and Shaedon Sharpe ended with 24. Meanwhile, they did not have a solid performance coming in from Dillon Brooks, which was a big reason why they ended up losing. And, yeah. The Bucks, they ended up beating the Charlotte Hornets, despite LaMelo Ball dropping 50 points and 10 assists. This was a career high for Melo. He had 40 points in the second half. And Brandon Miller ended with 32 points and 11 rebounds. Somehow this wasn't enough to beat the Bucks, with Giannis scoring 32 points, 11 rebounds, and Damian Lillard dropping 31 points. I don't know what LaMelo Ball is expected to do. There's also rumors that he's going to get traded to the Clippers, or that the Clippers are going to go ahead and pick him up. But, 50 points and 40 of them coming in the second half, that is incredible. He did shoot 17 for 38 from the field, however, that's a lot of shots. But again, 50 points is 50 points. Then the Grizzlies, they ended up beating the Bulls. I'm pretty sure I predicted that. The Bulls, they ended up losing 142 to 131. Scottie Pippen Jr. ended with 30 points and 10 assists. And for the Bulls side, Zach LaVine ended with 29 points. Now, Sunday's games, which were games that nobody really paid attention to, Heat ended up taking the game into overtime and beating the Mavericks 123 to 118. And the Mavericks, they finally got some sort of production from Klay Thompson with 15 points. And he did go 5 for 12 from the field, however. Just an awful shooter now. Kyrie Irving, 27 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds. But again, wasn't enough for the Heat or Jimmy Butler, who had a random 33-point game with 9 rebounds and 6 assists. I say random because he usually doesn't do this, and he usually saves this until the postseason. Kings, they ended up losing again, this time to the Brooklyn Nets. I did not expect the Nets to win this one. Cam Thomas ended with 34 points. And on the Kings side, De'Aaron Fox ended with 31 and still ended up losing. The Celtics, they beat the Timberwolves. Not really shocked at that result either. The Jason Tatum ended with 26 points. Jaylen Brown ended with 29 points because, of course, he did. Anthony Edwards ended with 28. Randall ended with 23. Rudy Gobert ended with 10 points and 20 rebounds. Pacers, they made short work of the Wizards. Of course they did. Siakam ended with 22. And on Washington's side, no one really played well. I mean, Alexander Czar finally had a good game, 17 points and 14 rebounds. But, been very lackluster as the second overall pick in the entire draft. Clippers, they destroyed the 76ers because it's almost like they're missing their MVP caliber center in Joel Embiid, who just does not want to play for some reason. I don't know what's going on over there, but just absolutely awful. James Harden, 23 points, 8 assists. Zubac, 16 and 12. And Derrick Jones Jr., 18 points. And on the Sixers side, McCain ended with 18 points. Really the only bright spot for this Sixers team, despite the fact that he went 3 for 15. And he did make 10 free throws out of the 12 he took, really taking after Joel Embiid there. But again, shorthanded 76ers. And the Cavs, they ended up beating the Raptors. They're 17-1 now. They won 122 to 108 with the help of Donovan Mitchell and his 26 points, and Jared Allen with his 23 points and 13 rebounds. So that's really all that I have to say on this recap. Also, Jacob Poeltl ended with 12 points and 19 rebounds, and Grady Dick ended with 18. Scotty Barnes is finally back, and he ended the game with 18 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. So really good for fantasy. But that's it for the fourth segment. So now we're going to go into the fifth segment where we look at the NBA power rankings that were just released, like literally just released. And I will be right back after this short break, so be sure to stay tuned.